Welcome, I'm James and I'm 1/3 of Trading the Market, and this video is going to be your football scalping Bible. I'm going to discuss how to execute it, the best football markets to scalp that I have the most success trading in, explain back and lay, liquidity, how to use your bank, risk versus reward, and some live examples trading manually and semi-automated. Now, I'm assuming as you're still watching, you're like me and you love watching football. Now, what if you could watch football matches and also take the cream from the top of certain football markets on the betting exchanges for a small risk? Sounds interesting? Absorb this whole video and you too can make steady profits scalping football matches and then apply what you have learned to other sports and markets. So let's get into it. Now, what is scalping? Scalping is the act of entering and exiting the market in a very short burst over 1 to 2 ticks. You would back a market and then lay the price. For example, you back the under 2.5 goals for 2.3 and then take the lay price of 2.28. You could extend this further and hold out for many more ticks, but this would no longer be scalping. This would just be trading. The true art to gain profit is to put a sum of money onto a market with a moving price that you can spend the minimal amount of time in. Success would be an almost instant back and lay. So if scalping is the movement of a couple of ticks, then the movement of many ticks is known as a swing trade. But as long as you were in and out of the market in a fairly small amount of time, this is a scalp in my opinion. It is always more effective to enter a market and remove yourself quickly whilst making profit. We will talk more about this in the risk versus reward section. One of the main reasons scalping is so popular among both new and more experienced traders is because it's possible to make profit without even needing to predict the longer term direction of the odds. But with football scalping, we already know which way the odds will rise or fall, depending on what is happening in the game and the market within a football match you are trading. Now, there are lots of ways to scalp the many different football markets. Knowing which way the price will move depending on the market being traded and something happening or not happening within a game is what makes scalping football markets easier than any other to trade. Any market where there is a yes or no outcome will always be easier to trade. Back to my example of over and under 2.5 goals has 2 outcomes. Will it be over 2.5 or under 2.5 goals? That's the yes/no option. Now, looking at the match odds market, this market has 3 outcomes: home win, away win and draw. As 2 markets increase, the other one will decrease. So if the home team is winning 1-0, then the draw and away team markets on match odds will be increasing. You could scalp the home team on the decreasing odds, or you could keep laying the other 2 markets in a kind of reverse scalp. We will cover this shortly. Other markets like horse racing can be harder to scalp, due to there being many more outcomes or options. Before we go any further, let's cover the next topic. What is back and lay? Now, if you're a seasoned trader, you may not need this section, but as we get so many messages from traders who will struggle to get their head around the basic concept, if you don't need it, feel free to skip ahead, but it couldn't hurt to listen. Backing a selection or market is the same as placing a bet on it, like you would do with Sky Bet on a set market. So placing a back trade on under 2.5 on a game is the same as placing a bet on the under 2.5 market on Sky Bet or Bet365. Now, where trading comes into its own, you can sell your trade to someone willing to buy off you. This can be done one of 2 ways. Now, before we start losing everyone, we will carry on explaining what the back is. I have always found it easier to explain it using the more familiar stock market. To make it easier to understand, we will walk in terms of the stock market and I will reference it back to sports trading. So we will carry on with our under 2.5 market. When we want to place a trade on the event happening, it's because we believe the event will happen or we believe the price will move that way. So the back trade is buying shares in the market. So we buy £10 on the under 2.5 market and as a trade, we buy it at a price of 3.0. Now, if we saw the end out of this game, we would make £20 profit, as our stake of £10 times 3.0 would equal £30, less our £10 we put at risk. If it became a losing trade, then we would lose our £10. Now we get to half time in the game and there has been no goals scored, so the price of the market drops down to say 2.0 on the lay side. We could sell our shares, so we place a lay trade for £10 at 2.0, which then gives us our money back, as we have sold our trade, which is more valuable as the price dropped. So we have removed any risk we had, and as now we have our £10 back, and as a result, we still have a potential profit. Not as much as we would have got before, as we have removed some of the capital that we have had on the trade. So now we can only win £10, but we have this as a free bet as we no longer have any sort of risk. In order to win this, we still need the game to finish under 2.5 goals. If it ends up having 3 goals in the game, then we win nothing. This is the most basic of backing and laying a trade. We back a trade when the price is at its highest and sell it off or lay it when the price falls for a profit, as long as the event we have backed still happens. You can spread your profit out over the markets to make a profit, no matter what happens in the game. This is done by using the cash out button on Betfair or the trade out button on Smarkets. This will spread out your profits across the markets and you will get a considerably less amount of profit, but the advantage is that it's guaranteed. Now we know that we can back something and then lay it, which is like buying it and selling it, we need to answer the question, who is selling to us and who are we selling it back to? These are the two sides to every selection. People who think it will happen and people who think it won't happen. So in the under 2.5 goals market, when we are backing it, we are the people who think it will happen. The people who don't think it will happen are the lay traders. So we have the backers against the lay traders. As a backer, we want the best possible price. Why settle for 2.0 when we can try for 4.0? We will get twice as much money, but as we will now be getting £40 back from our £10, we have to be able to find a layer who will risk the £40. As someone who starts with a lay trade has to risk more money. They will be looking to get the lowest possible price. So why lay for 4.0 when you can lay for 2.0? Now we have two sets of people who want to trade and want the best possible price. They will have to meet somewhere in the middle on that price. So people will place requests for the price they want, where they offer above or below market price depending on the back and lay. Or you can just take the current price on offer, which in our example is 3.0. As we are the backer, we need the price to drop as low as we can before we trade out or lay the bet off. So as someone who laid the trade to start, we want the price to drift to make our trade more valuable before we back out of it or trade out. Now let's take a look at the lay side of trading. So we have a selection in the market on the over 2.5 goals with a lay price of 2.0. Now if we lay it at 2.0 for £10, then it will cost us £10 to lay. The cost is known as liability, the cost you are liable to pay if your bet loses. So in this example, you are risking £10, and if the trade is successful, then you will make £10, or if you are unsuccessful, you will then lose that £10. Now if we lay £10 at 3.0, we will have a liability of £20, and if we are unsuccessful, we will lose £20, and if our trade wins, we will still only make £10. The amount we enter will be the amount we are going to make regardless of the lay price. The only thing that changes is the amount of liability that we have to risk. Remember, if the lay price is 3.0, the backer is going to make £20, so our risk will be £20 of the same £10 trade. Now you're thinking, why would you lay a trade rather than just backing them? There is some advantage of laying a trade rather than just backing it. As the lay means the event won't happen, it allows you to lay one type of outcome and any other outcome happening would result in you winning. Let me make this simple. On the correct score market, if we lay 0-0 as the correct score for 3.0, for £10 then we are risking £20 as our liability to win £10. Now as we are laying it, we are saying 0-0 won't happen. So if any goal is scored, then we win our trade. The only way we can lose our trade is if the game stays 0-0. In horse racing, this could mean that we lay a horse and any other horse wins, we win. That's the true advantage of laying. Also, you get amazing value at the lower end of the market. As the price drops below 2.0, the liability is less. So if 2.0 is even, as in £10 trade is a £10 liability, then anything less than 2.0 would give us our £10 for less liability. For example, if we were laying the price of a market at 1.2 on say the 0-0 correct score market, because there is only 8 minutes left, but we know they have just subbed the key goal scorer onto the pitch, the price being 1.2 means our trade of £10 means our risk stroke liability is only £2, so we could lose £2 or win £10. If we are still willing to risk £10, then we can place a trade of £50 at the price of 1.2 and we will only be risking £10. The only true way of increasing your understanding is by doing, and this can be costly. There are free websites that let you practice on markets that are not real, meaning you can gain experience and lose no money by doing so. We have included a link to one of these sites in the description. Now let's look at how we can place a back and lay trade on the markets. Now if we take a look at Betfair and select a market, we can choose to back or lay on this market. So if we back the market, we can do that using the blue button on the right with the highest price. When you go to enter your stake, it will give you a ready reckoner of what you stand to profit or lose from this action. This will help you make a more informed decisions on trades before you place them. The Lay button on Betfair is in pink and to the left with the lowest price. This again will give you a profit or loss number before you place a trade, and these are stackable, meaning if you wanted to place a trade on one market and back on a different selection, it will show you what the profit and loss is on the markets if both trades were in play. Now if you are using Smarkets, the principle is the same but the colour is slightly different. As you can see on the screen, the format is the same but the colours have changed to green to back and blue to lay. There is no industry standard on colours, but the back and lay is the same on any exchange you use. Now what is a tick and why do we talk in ticks? A tick is a moment in price, so when a price is 2.6, then one tick above would be 2.62 and one tick down would be 2.58. So the price movement up or down is spoken about in ticks. Now it sounds simple, doesn't it? Well, that would be too simple, and life is never that simple, so here is the curveball. One tick between 2.5 and 2.52 is not the same value as one tick increase from 10.0 working up. One tick above 10.0 would be 10.5. We will display a table of prices on the screen to see all the different variances of prices. It shows how many ticks are in each price point. I have only covered 1.01 to 20, but by knowing what ticks are at each level, you know what a tick is worth. So if you have £1 at 1.01 and it goes up 20 ticks to 1.20, then that will be worth 20 pence profit. So £1 at 9.0 to 9.2 will be a one tick increase in a market terms, but that one tick is worth 20 ticks in the one ticks. It's easy using the table. Take the amount of ticks in the price bracket, so for a price starting with 4, and divide that against the ticks in the price bracket you're looking at. So against the price of 1s it will be 100 ticks divided by 10 ticks, meaning that every tick you move at 4s you're moving at 10 at 1s. Knowing this will allow you to work out how far the price needs to move in order to make the profit you want. So when we say one tick, this is a movement amount, not a value, but you can work out the value and after a while it will become second nature. What is liquidity? Liquidity, as you can see at the top right hand corner of the screen, is the amount of money matched and waiting to be matched on a market or selection. The bigger the sport or the event itself, the more interest there will be in betting on it. So a Premier League, Champions League game, or say a Cheltenham horse race or a high seeded tennis match will always have a huge amount of liquidity on the main markets, at least, whereas say a Chinese League 1 game they will have a lot less. The disadvantage of low amounts of liquidity in a market or selection is you will always be struggling to match your bets, and if you are matched it will take longer to exit, increasing your risk the longer you're stuck in a trade. No bet can exceed the amount of liquidity, and a bet can only be matched as long as there is enough to cover its opposing outcome. When football scalping, the more liquidity the better. Getting matched quicker on your trades is key to making this work, and lowering your length of time in each scalp will lower your risk. So always check the event you're about to trade and make sure there is lots of liquidity within the selection you're trading on. If you can find a market that isn't going to move much, that's working in a narrow traded range. Where there's lots of money coming through, they tend to be quite suitable markets. That's primarily because you can keep your strike rate high and your potential losses relatively low. If you're looking at a market that has a very little money in it and it's flying around all over the place, your risk factor goes up tremendously. This is why the market selection is quite a key component of scalping. It's good to find a betting market where you have a very large competitive field and lots of prize money. You tend to find these markets will be slower moving markets. For example, the win markets, correct score and goals over and under in football. Something that isn't talked about much is getting your orders matched. When scalping, you could put one order in the market and then put one into the market, one tick higher or lower depending on what you're trying to do. There are a huge number of ways you can achieve this. If you are scalping using Betfair, trading software such as BetAngel, the one-click betting screen and global settings is a great way to get started, before you can move on to more proactively managing your orders on the ladder interface. Once you have a good idea of what you would like to do, you may want to use a software to do some of the work for you, or fully automate your activity. There are plenty of ways to skin a cat, as the saying goes, or should that be scalp? The risk that you take when you're scalping is from opening one position to closing that position. When you open a position, you're exposing yourself to risk within the market, and the position could go against you. When you put your closing position in the market, then what you're looking at from a risk perspective of your trade going wrong is the time between those two trades getting matched. One of the interesting things that we can think about here is what would be the perfect scalping market, something with lots of money going through, but we would also love to get those orders filled really quickly. If we put two orders in the market and they both get matched instantaneously, then we make money for almost no risk. This would be the perfect market. Unfortunately, the reality is you are highly unlikely to get that perfect market, but there are markets that can give you slightly more favourable situations. Look at working at the centre of the market. This would be where the current back and lay prices are. If you're working at the touch price and there's no money there, and you're at the front of the queue on both your orders, you will get matched very quickly. This is a good scenario. The worst place you could be is in a suitable market, but where there are huge amounts of money in front of you on both sides. This is because it could take ages to get both of your orders matched. All the time that you're in the market and unmatched, your risk goes up. This means that both orders will most likely not get matched as people are not taking enough of it to reach you in the order queue. Bankroll management is not the sexiest sports trading topic, but it's one of the most important for successful sports bettors and traders. The margins can be extremely thin, which means the difference between winning and losing can also be relatively slim. You need to protect your bank. In sports trading, your ability to increase your bank is only possible by using your current money. If you're too aggressive, your bank could dwindle too soon, and you won't generate any profits without loading more money into your account, so you will need to protect your bank and grow it responsibly. Your bank should never be more than you can afford to lose. A disciplined trader who employs a good bank management is unlikely to ever lose their entire bank, but many who are new to trading could end up blowing a bank or two before they have a light bulb moment and then see that it starts to come together. This is actually very common. Trading is bloody hard, and inexperienced traders are often tempted into chasing losses, which does nothing but make a bad situation even worse. Think about it. If you hit a large loss, how many profitable trades do you then need just to get back to where you started in the first place? Small losses are acceptable and unavoidable. There are plenty of websites and tipsters out there that will try to convince you that they have some sort of magical betting or trading system that never loses, but that's mathematically impossible, so we need to live in the real world. Learn to accept small losses and recover steadily with disciplined trading. Our aim is to increase our bank and over time as safely as possible. Set reasonable long-term targets and then break them down into smaller, manageable amounts. Every time you trade, you are working towards a target. When I first started trading, I blew my bank quite a few times. I'm no different from anyone who opens a new Betfair account thinking they know everything about football and quickly lose money. If you blow your first few banks, you're certainly not alone. It's a learning curve that most of us go through. What will set you apart from the rest is how you bounce back from it. I enjoyed the buzz of trading, and there was no way I was giving up. I learned my craft and remained patient, rebuilt my bank and started over. I was disciplined, determined, and in time consistently profitable. One of the most common questions asked by new traders is how much should I stake on each trade? Well, there is no simple answer as everyone is different and has their own risk versus reward levels depending on the size of your starting bank. A common mistake for new traders is that they want the easy quick money and can't stake with smaller amounts. Everyone would like to be trading with big sums and being hugely profitable, buying a new car, paying off their mortgage, living worry-free with lifetime financial security, or some are just happy walking into the bar and screaming, "The drinks are on me." Small and steady is the key. Making just £2.74 every day for a year adds up to just over £1,000, so you don't need to go crazy. It's entirely up to you how you go about your stakes, but maybe a suggestion of dividing your bank into 100 points and using stakes to the value of 1 point. Here at TTM we adopt this point system, and I would highly recommend following it or as close to it as possible. As an example, a bank of £1,000 is £10 a point, £500 would be £5 a point, and a £100 bank would see you using £1 a point. It's not glamorous, and I get that, but we are working towards a goal and steady profitable growth. It's a very simple and straightforward way to stake the correct amounts on your trades, and you can reset this at the start of every month so that your stake size rises and falls with the size of your bank. When your bank is rising, think very carefully about increasing your stakes and do it in small increments. For back bets, you can either use a 1 point stake or adjust the amount so that the potential profit is 1 point. The second option is really good, as it means you stake less on higher risk bets, which makes sense. Lay bets work differently in that you must make sure the liability is no more than your maximum loss limit. If the price is under 2.0, you will be able to stake more than 1 point if you wish, and still have the maximum loss under control. Trades are different again, in that your maximum risk may be more than 1 point. This is because for many strategies such as correct score trades, the potential profit is that much more. In many cases, it makes sense to use smaller stakes. You may divide your bank by 100 when placing a bet, but divide it by 200 when trading. It makes sense to be flexible so that you're always comfortable with the risk versus reward. It is vital that losses do not dent or blow your bank. Losses are always going to happen, but they should always be manageable amounts. Trade with discipline and chip away at your longer term targets. If you're sweating on a late goal, then you're staking too much. Another common mistake for inexperienced traders is to believe that doubling their stake after a loss will get them out of trouble. That may happen sometimes, but it only takes one losing run to blow a bank. For example, if you stake £10 per bet and double that stake after each loss, by the time you get to 10 losses in a row, you will be staking more than £5,000 just to get your original £10 back. That is insanity. You don't think that it's possible to hit 10 losses in a row? I've been doing this a very long time, and I absolutely guarantee that long losing runs happen from time to time. Stick with simple, sensible staking and concentrate on your long-term profit target. Now, you don't necessarily need to watch the event you're trading to be successful, but trading blind can sometimes leave you at a disadvantage. Not knowing how the flow of a game is going or who are the front runners in a horse race whilst you're pumping money into the exchanges could be damaging. Having real-time footage of the sport you're trading can be a game changer. The problem that we have in the modern world is that most of us stream live events, and trading on an event that has a 30-second delay or more with live pictures being bounced back and forth between satellites could leave you falling behind in decision making and thus losing money. I suppose you will never truly know if you're watching live pictures, but at least watching the game itself will give you an idea or better understanding if a goal is coming or not. I've had the issue myself when trading on Betfair and watching the stream from the exchange itself, and having lost money because of the delay in live footage. It is annoying, but it's just something we have to live with, I guess, unless you fancy taking your laptop to Anfield or Stamford Bridge and trading in the stands. But good luck trying to get a strong Wi-Fi signal in there. But even with this slight delay, as I said before, watching the game will give you a clearer picture and help you with your trading. Seeing a team attacking wave after wave as opposed to just sitting watching the prices with no live pictures will give you a good indication of when to stop scalping completely, or maybe switch to another market to actually trade on. Now, before we get into live examples of scalping, let's first take a look at some of the markets and selections I find best to scalp and how to put these into practice. When trading football markets, it's always best to know which way the odds will either increase or decrease, depending on what is happening within the game, and then we can make a decision about which markets or selections we want to scalp. Goals over and under markets are a great place to start, and these selections are ones I tend to scalp a lot. At the start of a match, the under 2.5 goals markets are a great place to start, providing the odds are over, say, decimal 2.3 or even higher. Now, some traders will place a full stake on this market and leg out, meaning selling increments of their stake over the course of, say, the first 10 to 15 minutes of the match. We also have a video detailing the under 2.5 goals market if you want to check it out after this video. If a goal is scored, you're liable to lose a vast portion of your stake remaining in the trade. But with scalping, we are buying and selling our whole stake very quickly for, say, 1 to 2 ticks profit each time, thus lowering our risk, and we are in and out of the market and not leaving our stake in the trade for 10 minutes or more. With the under 2.5 goals market or any under goals market, the price will decrease over the course of the game, providing there's no goals. So now we know which direction the odds will go, and we can now scalp these markets. So buying in at odds of, say, 2.4 and then laying at odds of 2.38 will provide a 1 tick profit, and then you can repeat this process and scalp the odds all the way down until you are comfortable with your profit margin. Scalping under 1.5 goals markets can be highly profitable as the odds are even higher, but with the higher odds and profits comes a higher risk. If a goal is scored and your money is still locked into a trade, you're liable to never recoup your initial stake or lose most of it, as the odds will take a large amount of time to decrease back to the price you first entered the market, and whilst waiting for the odds to drop, if another goal is scored, you will automatically lose your entire stake. So scalping under 1.5 goals markets, I would suggest being very cautious and be in and out very quickly, as one goal will see you lose money, whereas with under 2.5 goals markets, if a goal is scored, the odds will rise but not to a detrimental level, and then you'll have the choice of trading out for a smaller loss or scalping the prices back down to your original stake. With under 2.5 goals markets, waiting for a goal to be scored before even entering a trade and then scalping the under market is a great way to scalp for higher profits, as the odds will rise after the goal and then you can scalp the higher prices for higher profits, with the added cushion of knowing a second goal will not completely wipe out your full stake. Backing at the lay price and someone matching your order is even better when scalping, as when matched you're then laying at the current back price, making a 1 tick or even a 2 tick scalp even quicker. I will show you how this is possible with a semi-automated setup using BetAngel later in the video. Now you can scalp the over 2.5 goals markets also in a kind of reverse scalp by laying on the lay price and then backing at a higher price. So this would work by saying laying at decimal 2.68 and then backing the selection at 2.7 and then repeating this process over and over and riding the price whilst it's ever increasing. Match odd markets are also a great market to keep an eye on, with many different choices for us to take. First of all, looking at scalping a winning team is a good shout, but the one thing to remember here is the odds will always be shorter on a winning team, and the odds will only rapidly fall the closer to the end of the game it is, which makes this great for 1 to 2 tick scalps after the 80-minute mark, providing the score is only 1-0. If it's 2-0 or more, the odds will already be too short to scalp, as they won't move as much as they are already very low. So the same process applies here. The odds will fall and we can back at whatever the back price is and then lay at 1 to 2 tick price lower than our matched back price. Scalping the draw market can be done when the teams are locked in a draw, whether this be a 0-0, 1-1, 2-2 and so on. The longer the game draws on, pardon the pun, the odds will fall at an increased rate on the draw market, and we can scalp this in exactly the same way as the win market and the under goals market by buying and then selling for 1 to 2 ticks lower and then repeat. The last 10-15 minutes of a game locked in a draw will see the odds drop at a dramatic pace, and this will make scalping really easy and quick, providing you can get matched in time before the odds keep dropping faster and faster. The same goes for a reverse scalp in the match odd market. By laying the losing team and backing the selection for a couple of ticks higher as the price increases on the losers, I wouldn't recommend doing this as the price will be high and so will your liability, and if the losing team pulls a goal back you're going to lose a lot more money than you would scalping the winning team. This market can be highly lucrative as the odds will be very high on certain selections at the start of a match. One selection we tend to trade a lot here at TTM between myself, Mark and Roy is the 0-0 correct score market. This is a strategy in itself and could be made into its very own standalone video, it's that good. It also comes with a massive risk. One goal will see us lose our stake if we are still locked into our trade when the goal is scored. Looking for games where two teams are evenly matched in the match odds prices, say both being around 2.3 to win for one team and say 2.5 to win on the other team. As the teams are very well matched and the exchange doesn't know who is the favourite to win, we can check the 0-0 correct score selection price, and if this is say decimal 18 or massively more before kick-off, this is a scalp we want to be trading on. In a game with these match odd parameters and say a correct score selection price of decimal 20 before kick-off, we can buy in and scalp these higher prices for massive profits. As no goals are scored, the price will decrease in this market, so we can back and lay for 1 tick each time. With the prices being higher on this selection, we could actually use a smaller stake than the usual and protect our bank. By using a smaller stake, if a goal goes in, then we're not losing huge sums on a very risky but profitable market. Later I will show a snapshot of a tremendous trade out profit using this strategy on a recent Champions League match, and you will see what I mean about it being highly lucrative. Scalping the 1-1 market when the underdog goes 1-0 up early in a game can also be profitable. The odds will decrease for a time, allowing us to scalp, backing and laying the odds falling, but the longer the game stays 1-0 to the underdog, the odds will swing the other way and start to increase later on in the game as the underdog is more likely to see out the game and win. This is just a thought for a quick scalp for a few ticks profit. Now here we are with BetAngel. In my opinion, BetAngel is a pretty decent piece of kit. It will allow you to semi-automate or fully automate your trades. You can still trade manually, but why trade manually when you can make your life easier and automate your trades? Now, as you can see, I'm using BetAngel Professional, which is linked to Betfair, but you can also use the free version, which is linked to Betdaq. Now, in this example, I'm going to show you a really easy way to set up a semi-automated scalp. If you're brand new to using BetAngel, you can go over to the BetAngel Academy, and there you will find many free courses on how to use this software. So let's get cracking. If you head up to the top left hand corner of the screen and you see the yellow star, just click on this and this will open up the global settings editor. Then click new and then name your file. I'm going to name mine football scalping. Then next go to actions, and then next we want to be clicking offset bet with greening. This will automatically green up every scalp. Now you can change the offset ticks to whatever you want, but I would keep this between 1 and 2 ticks. Now the place fill or kill bets, change this to 15 seconds. This will keep your order in the market for 15 seconds and then kill it if it's not matched. Now the odds display, you can change this to back, lay or reverse, but we'll keep this on normal for now. And then just click save and you'll see it appears in the save settings and away you go. And all you need to do is just click up at the top and there you will see it at the bottom, football scalping. Now every time you find a match you want to scalp on, all you have to do is open BetAngel, go down to football scalping and away you go. So when using this, if you were to click the 0-0 correct score market as above at decimal 17, this will automatically put a lay price in at decimal 16, 1 tick lower. Once the price is matched, it will green out for you. Now on the odds display above you can click reverse. This will automatically reverse the prices on the screen below. So now when you click in decimal 18, this will be backing at the current lay price. So if you can get matched at the current lay price, you'll be scalping even quicker. So if you follow these examples I've just given, you too can set up an automation and make your trading even easier. Now let's get into some live examples. So this is the Empoli vs Fiorentina game. We've got Betfair open on one side and BetAngel open on the other side. Both are linked and ready to go. Now all I'm doing is putting £5 stakes in, backing the 0-0 correct score market. As soon as my bet is matched, BetAngel will automatically put a lay bet in for me and then green out once it's matched. Now because there is so little money under the odds prices, we can double up our bet by hitting the back price again. And then once matched, as the money is taken up underneath the odds prices even quicker, the ticks will drop even quicker and we will get matched and this will green out for us automatically. Now on correct score markets, the odds will take slightly longer to decrease. As you can see, I'm 7 minutes in and we've only dropped by half a tick. Trading on these markets, as I said before, can be very risky. All it takes is one goal and I'll lose my whole stake. So I've been matched on the first one and we'll just wait on this second one getting matched. And there we go, we're fully matched and it's greened out for me straight away. And this has left me with 34 pence profit. This is just off a couple of scalps. Now scalping on this game is not the greatest thing to be doing, but I'm only showing it as an example. There's only 9,000 matched in this game, so things are taking a little bit longer. If we were scalping on a game that I'd say over 100k matched in this selection, things would be moving a lot faster. So with there being so little in the game, and this just being an example, I'll literally stay in for the first 10 to 15 minutes and just show you what is possible. So from £5 stakes I've managed to trade out for 49 pence. This is 4.9% profit. Not bad for a few scalps, but on faster moving markets we can make so much more. So let me show you some screenshots of what is possible. Now I won't be disclosing the stakes I've used in this, as like I've said before, we have the bank to do this. I would recommend sticking to your bank and using 1 point per stake. We are never going to promote using vast stakes and seeing you lose huge amounts. All we are looking to do is to teach you the easiest way to do this, and you too can be consistently profitable. So here are a few screenshots of the profitable trades that we've made. I am not going to disclose the stakes used, as we are not promoting using vast amounts of money and seeing you lose huge sums. We are only here to teach and show the way. This is the art of the possible. Here at TTM, we always use and show more reasonable stakes as to what the average trader would use. In this snapshot, I won't disclose the stake used, as we are not promoting staking huge amounts on trades or scalps. We use the stakes we use as we have the bank to do this, but this just shows the art of the possible when scalping these 0-0 correct score markets. This is a massive boom. In summary, scalping is a low-risk way of making profit on the sports exchange. It's simple, easy and effective, and the truly brilliant nature of it is that you only enter the market for a small amount of time and for a small profit step. So if the market doesn't move your way, then the risk of loss is small. There are many pitfalls you need to watch for that could jeopardise your stake. These would be scalping a 0-0 market and a goal is scored, or scalping a under 2.5 goals market when a goal goes in to make it 2-1. Equally, you don't want to be trading the 3-0 market on the back if it's 0-0 in the 70th minute. It's finding the middle ground between the goal that will kill you or the goal that's never coming. The reason I personally love scalping so much is because of how many markets this works on. In a standard day, I will be scalping football, tennis and maybe the horse or two. Or maybe 12. When I say 12, I mean 20. Well, 20-ish. I find it highly profitable and versatile. Another advantage of scalping is that you can manual scalp or automate it, and even semi-automate the scalp, allowing you to enjoy a couple while the markets work for you, or for you to immerse yourself in the market that you're trading, allowing your reflexes to beat the market. My advice for your next step is to learn your craft and practice with it before going full speed with your own money. You have never met a rich fool. Remember to always look after your bank and stake values, and you won't go far wrong. You can't trade with a stake you don't have. Everyone wants to be successful and make money when trading, and anybody can do this with enough practice. But don't run before you can walk, and don't think one good day will make a successful career. It takes a lot of hard work at the beginning, and after that it becomes almost second nature. So there is nothing left to say other than good luck with your football scalping future, and please leave us some comments about your own experiences or any tips and tricks you may have. After all, our aim is to make you a profit and to make us a community. As you grow, we grow, and when we grow, you become stronger. All we ask is if you could subscribe and help grow our community channel. That one red button inspires us to make more videos. We are non-profit, as we profit from the exchange and not you. After all, we are all trading the market. Your time is precious, and thanks for spending it with me. I've been James, this was your Football Scalping Bible, and we are all trading the market. Happy trading.